Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Harmon. I go by my initials AJ, and today I'm going to be presenting you my capstone project, which is discussing sexual assault prevention programs on college campuses. Now, this research has been ongoing since the start of my master's program, which was last June, and I have enjoyed the journey it has taken me on, and I hope you enjoy. Let's begin by talking about the overall issue of sexual assault, and we're going to do this by presenting some data for you. Now, this data was collected by the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, also known as RAIN. For undergraduate females, 26.4 of them experience rape or sexual assault. This is by through physical force or incapacitation. This is 1 in 5 women. For males, that's 6.8%. For transgender, genderqueer, or nonconforming, 23.1% of them. And going a little bit further into college women, college age women, that's the years between 18 and 24. Women enrolled in college are 3 times likely to experience sexual assault. For women not in college, that increases to 4 times. Now, all of this data is only from reported sexual assaults. Only 20% of the female student victims actually report to law enforcement. So this number may more than likely be higher. Now, let's talk about the after effects of a sexual assault from the victim side. There's non-academic effects and academic effects. Non-academic effects could be such as physical injury, the risk of getting sexually transmitted diseases, and also has a mental impact on you, such as you can become depressed, you may resort to substance abuse, self-harm, or post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, at the academic side, students that experience sexual assault may perform at lower levels than before the event. In an attempt to avoid their perpetrator, they may tend to miss more class and distance themselves away from social events. And at the very worst case scenario, they more than likely will drop courses, leave school entirely, or transfer to another institution. Before we get into the literature, I wanted to present some definitions here that I have found through my research. The overall term sexual assault prevention program is interventions used to reduce attitudes, cognitions, emotions, and behaviors that might increase the likelihood of a sexual assault. Underneath that term, you have 2 types of prevention. The first type is primary prevention, and the second type is risk reduction programs. So primary prevention focuses on promoting healthy relationships, respectful sexual environments, and a realistic understanding of consent and awareness of situational cues that indicate possible dangers. For risk reduction, this teaches potential victims how to effectively avoid and or thwart an assault attempt. That usually is where you see self-defense or risk reduction program. Now, through research, I know I said my high school doesn't do sexual assault prevention, but other high schools actually have, and some have done it at the middle school level. One that I saw was Speak Up, which is an 8th grade curriculum with 1 hour weekly sessions over the course of 9 weeks. This was done in Colorado. Topics covered were age appropriate, such as gender stereotypes, bullying, and dating violence. At the high school level, there was a program called Bringing in the Bystander, which was actually performed in the classroom. And not only were the students receiving information, but there was a 60-minute workshop for faculty and personnel. At the college level, there were more programs. An abundant amount of them were available. The information presented was done in a wide variety of ways. I wanted to just give you 3 of them. The most common way is the middle box, which is workshop and lecture. It could be done through a student-led or an instructor-led discussion or by a guest speaker, such as a survivor of sexual assault. The next most common format is the one on the right, which is one-time events, such as Take Back the Night and Clothesline Project. This only happens once in the academic year. On the left side, online, is the newest format that I've seen. There were not many, but I did find 2. The first one was Take Care, which struck to me the most because the program uses the concept of friends taking care of friends. Usual prevention programs talk about how to be a positive bystander for a stranger, but on this study, there was more buy-in since they used this concept. Another program was Haven, Understanding Sexual Assault, which is not using friends taking care of friends, but it was still an online format. Now, these programs not only can be for the entire student population, but for targeted audiences as well. The two types of audiences that I saw based on my research were first-year students and gender-centered groups. I'm going to focus on gender-centered for a little bit. We can focus on the issues and skills that that specific gender may need, such as for men, there was a program called the Men's Project. It was an 11-week program, and it went through 3 stages. They talked about toxic masculinity, the effect of a sexual assault from a male perspective, and how to be a positive bystander as a male. Once again, this is just a small glimpse to the many studies and programs found. With all this being said, some of these programs proved to make improvements on their populations, but a traditional program such as workshop, lecture, or a one-time event does not make a lasting impact. But those skills need to stay with those students throughout their time in the institution. Now, as a high school teacher, I wanted to give you guys some data at the high school level. I can say that there is no sexual assault prevention program at my school. There may be at the high school level, but not in my school. So I sent out a survey to my school's teachers to get their thoughts on the matter. Only 26% of them actually participated in a sexual assault prevention program while enrolled in college. 78.9% actually believe that high school students should participate in a sexual assault program, and 100% say yes, college students should participate in a sexual assault prevention program. This may be a small sample. The need for a prevention program is prevalent at the college level. Based on my experience and the research that I've done, your incoming students are not having those tools needed to prevent a sexual assault. I would like to study the impact of sexual assault prevention programs in the post-secondary level. Students are engaging in sexual intercourse as early as in middle school, and students should know the support and tools that are available to them in the event that they or someone they know has been sexually harassed or assaulted. Students have the right to learn about how to be safe. Students will engage in sexual intercourse. That is the reality of it, but they should know how to be safe about it. Based on the research I've found, I've created a sort of framework, if you will. Not all universities are equivalent in quality in the students that they have. That is the beauty of universities, such as Harvard is going to be different than the University of Tennessee. However, based on the research shown when looking at a prevention program, the following should be included. So here is my framework, if you will. First, make the program a requirement for first-year students, have an online component, later have an intervention piece, and at the end of the program, perform a post-program survey. For the first-year requirement, this can be held during orientation week. It could be held over the course of the first half of the fall semester. According to research, though, the duration of these sessions should be no less than an hour because of the attention span of students. The intervention piece needs to be performed reinforcing concepts presented in the original program. Think of the teaching how to add for the first time. The teacher didn't just say, here's how you add. They taught it to you originally, and then they reminded you how to do it. That is an intervention piece. So, which is why it's needed. Now, the format may vary. It could be online, it could be workshop, it could be something else, but it should be different than the original presentation. And this intervention can actually be maybe towards certain audiences, such as gender. The online component, I believe, is really good for our current students because this is able to reach larger student populations, such as the commuters. A lot of commuters tend to fall through the cracks when getting these prevention programs, but now you can get those students and give them the tools that they need. Now, the online component can be used as an intervention piece, but it makes more of an impact as the main form of instruction because you are getting larger student populations that way. Now, the post-program survey, the reason why we're including this is because programs have also rarely been evaluated to test whether or not the intervention is particularly effective with high-risk participants, such as previous victims or part of a minority group. That's why having that survey really helps you gauge on what adjustments you need to make. And making those adjustments to meet the needs of your unique students is critically important. Like I said before, Harvard is going to be different than the University of Tennessee. So for future work and significance, we need to be aware that sexual assault is a major issue. I know the numbers don't show it, but this was just for reported. It is a major issue, especially in higher education. It does not only affect the victim, it affects the institution. It harms the mission that the university has by undermining the safe and hospitable learning environment. That is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That is the first step. You need to make sure your environment is safe. If that is not working, learning cannot happen. So my research paper will show the traditional methods and current programs and how they are not making long-term impacts on students, the issues that current programs have, and I'm also going to describe the pros and cons of the different formats of these educational prevention programs. And I'm also going to provide more in-depth reasonings on the different components of the proposed framework. And with that being said, everybody, that is the end of my presentation. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.